I figured I would do a story time video about the time that a routine surgery that happens every single day, that's literally not even a big deal, almost killed me. So when I was in grade 5, I guess I should preface this a little bit. I was born with a throat infection, so I had multiple throat infections like every week. Like I'd get better and then I'd have another throat infection. It's to the point where painkillers, like over-the-counter painkillers, don't affect me anymore. Like I need to take 2 extra strength Advil and 2 extra strength Tylenol, and sometimes I even need to take other meds with it to impact like a small headache. So it was to the point where antibiotics didn't do anything, so I would just have to like cope with the pain and drink lots of tea, that kind of thing. So like that's how long it happened. I was in grade 5 from the day that I was born until I was in grade 5. They figured out that it was chronic. I basically had chronic tonsillitis, and so in grade 5, up until grade 5, I had been on a waiting list for years, and they were kind of just like skipping over me, and they never really took my mom seriously about it, and she took me to the hospital one day and refused to leave until they scheduled an operation because it was affecting my quality of life so much. So the surgery that I had is called a tonsillectomy. It happens every day. Like it's literally the most like chill surgery ever. Like it's ridiculous. With a tonsillectomy, they take out your tonsils, obviously, and they take out your adenoids, which are basically, as far as I know, they're like up here, kind of, like behind here. Your tonsils are in your throat, and your adenoids are up from them. So it was affecting my quality of life in the way that I couldn't sleep because I could hardly breathe. I had a really like deep, raspy voice. I was very nasally, like this I'm even worse now because of what happened, but I would snore, I would snore lots, I was constantly grinding my teeth, like my teeth are worn down, like it was making me grind my teeth, so it was just not a good situation altogether, like it was terrible, and nothing some grade 5er should go through, so I was like 11, like 10 when this happened, and keep in mind this is the first and only surgery for a good reason that I had. Like this is my first surgery. I was 10 and it almost killed me. So I spent a while on the phone with my mom. I have it all written out on my laptop that doesn't like to not wheeze, so we're similar. I have it all written out on my laptop, so I'm going to be looking down at it because it's a lot of information. Before my surgery, I was admitted. I don't really remember that. I remember coming up, staying a night in a hotel, and then we bought like sherbet and stuff like that for me to eat after. But we bought purple sherbet, which you're not supposed to have anything purple, red, or orange after you eat, because then if it's on your tongue, it looks like blood, and then like how do you know if it's what you're eating or if you're bleeding? That kind of thing. So we didn't actually end up getting to use that. But surgery, they gave me I don't know what it was called. We just called it Goofy Juice. It tasted so bad. Like it tasted like I was drinking like cleaning solution. Like it was fucking disgusting. Like and it definitely made me goofy. I remember there was a mirror behind my bed. Mind you, there were 6 of us in the same room for the exact same surgery, so they all witnessed this entire thing. It reacted funny with me, so like there was a mirror behind my bed, and I was trying to stand up and look in the mirror because I wanted to look in the mirror. I did not want to be in bed. It made me feel weird. I was reacting to it, and I had my head craned all funny and my head twisted, and I was just staring like super, super intently at this one nurse, and I could, like, my mom said that it was making her uncomfortable, and I just like narrowed my eyes, and I was like, you have a huge wart on your nose. And so that was fun. I was hallucinating. They kept talking about how like the dots on the ceiling were moving. There weren't any dots on the ceiling. I'm sure shit weren't moving. I kept trying to climb off the bed, but my limbs couldn't support any weight. Like I couldn't push myself up. I was just spaghetti noodles, okay? So I kept trying to climb off the bed. I couldn't support my weight. I had absolutely no control over my arms or legs. Like, I'd have a muscle spasm and my arm would be like this because, like, I had no way of controlling it. Like, muscle spasm, my arm would just, like, twitch out real right because I couldn't hold it down. My mom actually had to sit on the bed with me, like, me between her legs, and her arms wrapped around my torso so I would stay still. Like, so I wasn't, because I kept trying to climb off the bed. And I got really mad. I remember I was so mad that they weren't letting me get out of the bed, but my mom said that they didn't know that I was mad because I was just being really funny. Like, they could see that I was, like, irritated, but they didn't tell that I was, like, actually mad. So I was sitting up with my mom, and I must have calmed down or something, and she took her arms off me, and I was sitting up, and I flopped forward, like this. Like, I've never seen anyone do that. I've never been able to do that. Like, it must have hurt. Flopped forward, and I tried to crawl off the end of the bed, like, drag myself off the end of the bed. And, like, my legs were straight out, and I fell over them, and I was pulling myself like that, still sitting on my butt. So, like, that must have hurt. The last thing that happened before I remember being in the operating room was, the dots moving, and then it, like, knocked me out. They take my tonsils and my adenoids out, and I bled lots. Like, I bled lots when my adenoids came out. So my adenoids were the size of a large grape. So, like, they were that big. And there were 2 of them in my throat. That's how big it was. The space between, like, the breathing room that I had when I would through my nose was that of a coffee stir stick, like one of those brown plastic coffee stir sticks. That's how much breathing room I had between my sinuses, like my nose and my throat. The adenoids were size of large grapes. Yeah. I could hardly sleep. I was snoring. I told you all about that. When they were putting me under in the operating room, I was hallucinating, and I saw, like, colorful bath salts in this, like, I'm not sure what it was, but, like, I could see it was pink and purple. I remember it was pink and purple, and I was breathing them in, and it felt like something was scraping down my throat. And then I passed out. And my surgery took longer than it was supposed to because they didn't know that my adenoids were that big, so it took me a lot longer. And my mom, back in the waiting room, is like, where is she? Like, she's not back. Like, she's half an hour late. Where is she? And then a fucking code blue gets called. Not for me, but a code blue is what... It's a code for... It's literally someone is dying. Get to the OR room. So, I'm a half hour late. Code blue gets called. She can't remember what operating room I'm in. She is freaking the fuck out. Naturally, because, I mean, that's... I would hope that she would be concerned. It sucks that she had to be, though. My adenoids were so big that he couldn't actually get them out in one go. So the tool that they use to scoop your adenoids out, because they literally scoop them out of your throat. It kind of looks like one of those scoops that you take, like, the greens of strawberries out with, except it, like, went like this, kind of. And so he scooped them once, and that's normally because, like, your body's not expecting it, right? So it doesn't get super irritated. But since he already cut into them and then had to go back into it, my body reacted terribly. They got so irritated. I bled a lot. I lost 1 liter of blood that we measured. And there's only 4.5 liters in your body. So I lost 1/4 of the blood in my body. In, like, not long at all. So I threw up 1/2 liter in recovery, because there's the operating room, they bring you to the recovery until you wake up, and then once you're kind of conscious, so, like, yeah, conscious, they'll bring you back to the, your room. So I threw up on the way from the operating room to the, recovery room, like, pure blood. Like, it would, like, projectile vomited, like, onto the floor in the hallway. I was sitting down, like, I was laying down because I was obviously unconscious, and I vomited, and it, like, went everywhere, like, projectile vomited in the middle of the hallway in a hospital. And then when I came back, I projectile vomited again. The surgeon actually thought he'd have to go back in to stop the bleeding. That's how bad it was. Every time I would get up and go to the bathroom, this is what I meant, like, that we measured. So in those 2 first times that I vomited, I threw up 1 liter of blood. We didn't count any of the other stuff that I threw up. So that we measured 1/4 of my blood leaving my body. But I threw up like 6 or 7 times after that. So, like, the same thing, like projectile vomiting. Like, it was disgusting. Like, it got everywhere. So I'd say probably about like 40% of my blood. And where am I was so pale that I was as white as a sheet of paper, and I had lost so much blood that, you know how you have like the lines in your eyes? Those were totally gone. My eyes were completely white, and my lips weren't pink, anything like that. You know how like you can do that thing where like you push onto a part of your body and then it like gets lighter and then it'll go back to your normal thing? My body didn't do that. I was obviously dehydrated because I was losing all this blood. So I was dehydrated, and 2, I had like no fucking blood. I guess I should have asked her if I needed a blood transfusion, but I feel like I would remember that if I needed that. But I lost a lot of blood. And when I came back, I don't know when exactly this was, but there was a white cat my mom had bought in the gift store, like the gift shop from the hospital. And I don't know how that cat survived, because like I vomited so many times. Like, I vomited all over the nurse, all over the bed, like in one vomit. Like, the nurse was covered head to toe. Like everything on the bed was covered. The blood, like the floor had so much blood on it that the nurse couldn't walk to push my button. My mom had to lean over my bed to push the button because she didn't want to slip. So my mom had to push the button, like the assistance button, and nurses came in, and it looked like someone got it looked like somebody got killed. So there was blood everywhere. I would throw up every single time. I just realized I kind of got off track with that. But like on top of the 2 times that I vomited that we kept track of, every time I'd walk to the bathroom, I'd be really shaky to the bathroom. I'd go to the bathroom and I would stand up and I'd walk super fast back to my bed, because that's where the buckets were, and I could feel that I was just gonna vomit again, like pure blood. Like, there wasn't any food in my stomach for like a good 3 days. So obviously I was on like all kinds of drips. But yeah, I don't know how that cat survived, because it actually got wrapped up in the blankets while they were changing my hospital bed, and it went into the laundry chute like with everything else. And these hotel staff, like, bless them, they're amazing. They went through everything, all of the laundry, to find my cat for me, because I was so scared. Because like I was 10 and I was like, I had this super easy surgery that literally could have killed me. Like, I almost died. Like, if I didn't stop bleeding at the rate that I was, which they didn't actually think I was going to, so if I didn't stop bleeding, I would have died, because I lost like at least, what's the math, like 25% of my blood. Yeah, at least 25% of my blood in like a 15-minute radius. Like, it was absolutely fucking ridiculous. The cat was pure white and it had no blood on it, even though it was wrapped in bloody sheets. And like I said, there were 6 people in the room. They saw all of this. Like, they didn't close curtains because there weren't any curtains to close. I remember the girl in front of me, she did everything normal. I just remember looking at her and she was like white, like she was terrified. Like, can you imagine watching this girl that got the exact same surgery that you just did? Because we all got tonsillectomies. So like, that happened, you're like, oh my god, that could have happened to me, this poor girl. The doctor actually wanted us to go out of the hospital, like that night, to go out of the hospital and stay in a hotel in town, but she refused to, because like, I mean, I wouldn't want to take my 10-year-old who's like projectile vomiting blood everywhere to a hotel, first of all. But like, if I didn't stop throwing up, I would have to come back anyway. So my mom actually refused to take me out of the hospital, so I stayed overnight after the surgery. So when I got home, I actually slept for a week, like a week straight. I slept for 7 days straight. my mom had to force me awake to take sips of water, eat whatever she could get me to eat, and take pain meds. And I remember she tried and tried and tried and tried to wake me up the first night, because you need to keep your, like, there's stitches in your throat, right? You have to keep your throat wet, like damp or moist or whatever. I didn't do that, and I woke up, and I remember waking up in tears because it felt like someone had a chainsaw down my throat. Like, it hurt so bad. I've never been in so much pain. I've rolled a car for almost a kilometer. I've had, like, appendicitis. No, nothing was compared to my stitches being dry. So the first time I was awake, so like after a week after the surgery, the first time I was awake, long enough to make a conscious decision about what I wanted to drink, and this is still a problem today, about what I wanted to drink. I asked for a glass of milk, and I took like a normal, like a big gulp from what I had been taking previously, because I mean, like, I was hardly awake, right? I took a normal size gulp, and it went right back out my nose. There is, like to this day, there, it's almost like I need to, I don't know how to explain it. I have to, like, make it so air doesn't go through my nose, because if I do it makes it really nasally. So I have to, like, block out my sinuses somehow, which probably makes me sound even nasalier, but I mean, it sounds better to me. So I can't gargle anything because of it. If I have water in my mouth and I drink it too fast, it'll come out my nose, or it'll get caught up in my sinuses. So I have sinus infections all the time. If I am underwater, I have to plug my nose, because there's nothing stopping the water from just, like, floodgating. Like, I don't know, like, I can't, it just goes right in. Can't gargle, can't swim. I had a really bad speech impediment after I had it done. I didn't notice it, but obviously my mom did. I couldn't say the letter M, so I was saying mom, but it was coming out as Bob. That's how bad, like, I was saying Bob. Like, mom, Bob. That's how bad it was. I was supposed to take, not including the surgery day, I was supposed to take 4 days off school, but I needed to take a month off school because I couldn't get out of bed for a month. Like, I was so weak from all this blood that I lost, because I lost mass amount of blood. Like, it was critical blood loss. Like, I'm pretty sure the doctor, like, the surgeon got in trouble or something, or was, like, suspended, I don't know, but, like, critical amount of blood loss. Like, he shouldn't have even offered me to leave that hospital. The whole month I couldn't get out of bed, and it took me like a month and a half to be able to walk around the grocery store. I remember having to sit in the cart, and people would always get mad, like, she can't be sitting in the cart. It's like, well, she just lost a quarter of her blood, leave her the fuck alone, kind of thing. And I remember the whole month that I couldn't get out of bed, my childhood best friend would come and play video games with me. So that's the time that I almost died from, like, the most minor fucking surgery you can get. Like, everyone else in that room went home the same day. Like, it's a day surgery. Like, it's ridiculously easy, and my body just hates me and decided to bleed and bleed and bleed and bleed and bleed and bleed. And for reference, your stomach is 1 liter. So my stomach was full of blood. That is fucking disgusting. Like, that is disgusting. So yeah, that's the time I almost died from a minor operation. Yeah. So I have plenty of stories of things like this that are a little bit different. So if you want to keep hearing them, let me know. Like, share this video, subscribe, comment down below. Tell me if you like this, or if I'm just like a blathering fool that you're sick of our voice already. You've only watched one video. So yeah, okay, bye guys.